Alrighty. We are having International Card Making Day today. I've never been a big card maker myself, but it's something that a lot of people have been really interested in, and with my digital papers and stuff, I'm super excited to be starting this new concept that I've got that is called card parts. And so it's different elements on a sheet that you can then print, because it's digital. It's print, and then you can cut them out and then assemble them in any number of ways to make very unique cards that you can use for giving. Now, for today's class, I have two of the card parts sheets that are available for download. They're on my website in the blog. I know, amazing, my blog. In the blog, and there's some links that you click. You'll scroll down. There's two images of the card part sheets. You will click on the title below each of them. It will open it up. You can then print directly from that page. Just send it to your printer, or click on your printer and print them yourself, or you can download them to your computer. Typically, on most computers, when you download something, it goes to your downloads, and you can look there. If you have your computer set up for them to go somewhere else, I have no way of knowing where they go. So you need to know where your downloads go on your computer, so you'll be able to print them out. So I also have a link to the blog post over on Paper Doodles, which is my private Facebook group. Feel free if you want to join. Joy usually goes through every few days and approves Poo Pill. We do have it as a private group so that we don't get a lot of people coming in and advertising things like sunglasses and all sorts of other things. There's nothing private about it. Anybody can join if you're into crafting, and we'd love to have you. We have an amazing group over on Paper Doodles, and that's also where I announce a lot of things. Yeah, I found it to be one of the more universal ways of getting the information out there, even more so than my blog. So, alrighty, guys. So we are going to be getting started. So I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras, and we'll get rolling. All right, with card parts, I've already shown this a couple times on my usual shows. Let me see if I can get the computer out of the way a little bit there. On my usual shows, excuse me. And the first one that I was showing everybody is this sheet here, and with this one I have an image, a larger image that has some butterflies on it, and then there's some accent pieces, some little accent colors. A large piece here, a stripe, and then a couple of just generic type of okay, it just went totally, the words it just went out of my brain. So what I've done with these is I've done these, one a vertical and one a horizontal oriented card, and I've just taken the elements and cut them apart and then assembled them. So these same elements are used on both cards. Even though the cards are different, I just used the Peace, Love, Joy on one card and the Thinking of You on the other. And so you can assemble them into any number of ways. So this is one of the downloads. Since I had already put this together as a sample, this is one of the downloads that I have available over on my website. And again, you just cut them apart. You can also print these out if you're capable of printing yourself. You can print these out in a smaller size for smaller cards as well. The new one that I did for today is an autumn themed one. It's got more of a my printer printed out some black bloppies on there. So it's got a neutral area, and then kind of a background piece. It's got a striped strip. It's got a bright kind of coppery colored strip, a little bit darker background piece, two salutations. One is thankful and one is falling for you. And then some squares with some leaves on them. So we can cut these apart and assemble these in several different ways. And that's the one we're going to work on today. Though I am just realizing now that I'm going to have to, I didn't look at it closely enough. And I'm going to need to reprint this. Oh, here, I'll just use the link that Joy has in the, conveniently for the moment, in the, let's see, file, print. All right, so I just used the link because it was the fastest way to get to it. Let me make sure my printer's printing it. Alrighty, there, it's going, because my printer made some oogies on there. So, but that gives me some extra pieces of some of these other things too, because you can print out. The beauty of having digital sheets like this is that you can then print them out any number of times that you need to. So, okay, the paper's going in and out, and I think my printer's set to do double-sided or something. So now it's printing. Alrighty. So then you can use whatever paper that you want to put your cards on. Let's see, I've got a variety of some papers down here. Here's some craft. Here's a black. I know I have some parchment. I thought I had some parchment down here. Let's see. Did my parchment run away? It appears so I can use, I want a light cream colored one. So I know I have some parchment. There it is. This is hiding. So any number of sheets of paper. See, I just, oh gosh. You know what? I'm going to use the one with the little blippies on there, and when I trim it, probably won't show because now I've got stripes because I have a printer that needs head cleaning done. So, and it makes a lot of noise, so I'm not going to, I'll just use this one for today's purposes. So you can use any color of cardstock that you want to. These are size that they'll work where you just use an 8.5 by 11 sheet and fold it in half. So, and that will make a nice size card. If you want to print them a little smaller, or for instance, this piece here I think is 4 by 6. It's 4 by 6. So you could go a little bit larger than a 4 by 6 card if you wanted to. And just have this element in there. You want to go a little bit smaller, you can trim this stuff down, or you can print them to be smaller sheets if you want. I find this size, using just an 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half, is a really convenient size card. It gives you plenty of room inside to do stuff inside. You could also put so if I have peace, love, and joy here, I could have taken the thinking of you and put it on the inside as well. So, oh, I needed to print out 2 of these. Well, I can actually, oh no, it's got really good stripes across there. Let me see how bad the sound is. If it's going to be really nasty, well, I run the head cleaner. Let me see if this is going to be obnoxious. So I'm just trying to think which color I like it against. The parchment works on the cream. I like it on the black too. The craft not so much. Let's do a parchment and a black one. We'll do a couple of cards. So then after you've printed these out, you can then just trim apart the parts. This morning laying in bed, I was thinking, God, I need to come up with a good name of what to call these things. I was originally just calling them card elements, but I like card parts. And so I got up this morning, did a little research. I couldn't find anybody using the name card parts for anything. So I always try to do that in advance. I do not like to step on toes. Have somebody else already using a term. So we just cut apart our parts and then use them. Well, okay, the cleaning is not going too loudly, so that's good. People make cards all sorts of sizes here as well, Deb. This is just the size that I'm using. As you saw with these guys, these were a quarter of that size, where I had just printed out the image smaller, and you can make them a quarter of the size, so it's, or half that size. So that's up to you as to what size you want to make it. You can just print it out larger or smaller. And I'm trying to remember what this size card is called. I had it all listed out somewhere, but I don't recall exactly what size, whether it's A4, A7, something like that. When I start doing these card part sheets, we're going to be doing our mystery book club using these card part sheets for the next album, because then we're going to have a box that they're all going to store into. And I will have those available in multiple sizes, so you don't need to make adjustments when you're printing. But if you do want to make a custom size, you can print them to the size that you want. Yeah, Joe, I had to look it up too as to what all those sizes were. So then I'm going to take my brain is totally blanking as to what these are. You could also use, if you have stamps and such, and you wanted to do stamped phrases, you could do that. I'm just trimming off some of the excess. There we go. So it gives me those. Okay, it's done. All right, let me try printing again. See my storage. Oh wait, I was gonna. Oh, okay. Well, I can't use the link again because it's too far up in the thing. So let me just real quick print this out again. And that is under okay. So now I've got all of my elements, my parts all cut apart. So now I can go and start out with a black sheet. Score this in half. Print. I'm going to do 2. That way I have them since I'm printing. Alright, so I'm just going to score my 8.5 by 11 sheet in half. And fold that. If you use standard A size, and you can Google card sizes, then you can purchase envelopes, but you can also make your own envelopes. Okay, and Deborah's already done this. So a half of an A4 is A5. Twice as big as an A4 is an A3. It's all standardized and universal. Okay, so this one's not much cleaner. It's still got a few stripes on it, but that's fine. So we can take our parts, and we can just place things kind of where we may want them. So if I wanted to just have maybe I want it over on this side, kind of have this ghost leaf thing going on here. Set that there, that there. Maybe this one's here. And I can take maybe this piece, I might trim some off, or I have it going like there to add a punch of little color. And then I can have maybe this right there. And it says, you know, that's how quickly we can put together a card. So we can set something up like that. We can maybe back this with some of this here, and it can say falling for you. Maybe we just have this stripe piece tucking underneath there. We use that there. And if we chop that off and have that right there, and maybe have, let's go with this one right there. You know, we can just start assembling these cards in any way that we want them to be. Maybe we'd even do that on there. And it's a different one of these. It's kind of centered in there. Maybe have some of that going around it. Or we just have one of these guys. With a piece of this that comes down to it. So it get chopped off right there, comes all the way down there like that. We have that with our thankful. So there's all sorts of things. You can also do punches. You can add other pieces and parts of things. You could add, I just have some flowers sitting here. You add flowers. We could punch some leaves. I kind of like how this one's coming out right here. Because then I'm also thinking out of this, I have a leaf punch that I can then punch a leaf out of here. Make sure that I'm getting it all in there. So I can take and have a leaf. So that kind of goes back behind there and tucks outside of that. Maybe we can get at least part of one. I usually get pretty good about wiggling these on here. Oh gosh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be able to get it in there. Maybe if I just chop a little bit of a corner off. I'm such a miser when it comes to this stuff that I can usually, if I can make it fit, I will. Yeah, so I got a second leaf out of there. Maybe I'll just have these tucking down here. See if I want a different leaf on there. Maybe the brighter one. I think I like that one. And then we're going to have these leaf guys there too. So let's go ahead and ink these guys all up so we can attach them. There's all sorts of different leaves and such die cuts and that kind of thing. You can also, if you want, do some mix and match. So, you know, I have this one, but then you can also mix and match stuff potentially from this guy. So if we wanted some of these little pink guys in here rather than the strip, so you can see some of those can match in there. So the sheets won't always all mix and match, but you know, you can do at least some mixing and matching of them. I didn't get the best cut done on this, and it's going to annoy me that it's going to have that little light strip on there. But we'll have all sorts of different ideas and such when we're doing this on the My Usual Mystery Book Club, which is on Fridays at 10 o'clock. And we'll be doing multiple different cards and stuff on that. So we will also, we'll be doing some generic cards. We'll also do some holiday cards. I have a la carte up in my website already for people to be able to purchase the card part papers for both a holiday version, a Christmas version, and just the more generic version. So and I'm using Vintage Photo ink at the moment. It's nice to see a bunch of old faces that we haven't seen in a while. So to ink those up, added some ink lines in there for the veining. And crumple them up a little bit. Make them look more like real leaves. Alrighty, so then this is going to come down to about there, so I'll just mark it with my thumb and chop that off. That one's placed close to the top, right up there at the top. Decide if we want, how much of that we want showing. That's going to go there. Thankful, I'm going to want that, have something back behind it. It's just a little bit wide for that purple. Let's just do it right there. So I cut that stripe right there. And again, I didn't cut it the cleanest I could have. So just trim that little white piece that I left on there off. This is printed on white, so I can ink that up. It would show still, but I might want to add a little bit of other color. Let's see what else I've got in here that I can throw a little other color on it. A little greenish on there. Couldn't get the sponge that was already on there off. Just giving it a little bit of crushed olive on there, so it's got a little bit more color. Maybe tone that down just a hair. So it kind of ties in color-wise a little bit more. So I'm going to take my little thankful words. Maybe we'll move that down. Maybe this will go right here instead. And then I can have my leaves coming, tucking under there. Maybe like that. I could actually have this, maybe I can mount it on some foam square so it pops up. I don't like with cards to make them too thick, because if you make them too thick then they have to get extra postage on them. So I think just popping that up on some foam dots will work out perfectly. So let's take and get all of this stuff placed. So I want that, it's about 3/4 of an inch top and sides. I'm going to glue this down. Take our little accent strip. The black cardstock was an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I folded in half. Obviously you can make it a little smaller and still use all these elements. It's a size card that I like using, but you know, you can use whatever size card that you want. So I'm just gonna, this is just gonna where it touches. Stick that down. I like the points that are kind of the high points kind of thing. Okay, so let me get some foam dots out. I'll put that on the back of these guys, this one. I'm going to have that going that way. Obviously, you could use foam tape. Okay. And then this can just pop up in there like so. And then I can place this on. So it can be up on here, it can be below. I think I like it below. See, and look how quickly we've put together a card. We can add a piece of either white or parchment inside where you could write on. And on that, well, let's just do that. Let's see, I have a piece of parchment that was already kind of cut up and messy, a little too messy. Let's use the piece I had. Here it is. Let's cut it slightly smaller. I'm going to cut it to about 4.5. Cut about an inch, so it's about an inch smaller all the way around. You can also print these things onto parchment. I've printed my papers and stuff on parchment before as well. So we can take, and then on the inside, maybe take one of these other ones, like so, with what's left of that strip there, and do that, and that gives you a place to write on the inside. So let's do that. So the other thing with the card parts that you can do is, you're not into making cards, you can also use these elements to create scrapbook pages, mini album pages. I'm going to go about 1/4 inch down and then center. So you could put all of this onto a just basic scrapbooking page as well, if you prefer that. Alright, so again, I didn't cut these as cleanly, and I've got that white edge on there, and those of you who know me, I get, personally, bugs me when I have an edge on there like that, so I have to trim that off or it'll make me crazy. ink. So we'll have that running across on the inside. I just remember I used to just love going to the mailbox because you might have a letter, or when I was in college, it was in the days before you had, all the phones where you could text and all that stuff. But how fun is it to get a letter or a card, especially when it's one that's been handmade. If you go out and buy birthday cards these days, they are so ridiculously expensive. It's just kind of mind-blowing how expensive they really are. And so with the card parts thing is, you need a card. You can see how quickly this is all going together, especially if you have an idea what you want to do beforehand. You print it out and you assemble it together. You've got a handmade card. People are going to appreciate the fact that they've gotten a handmade card from you versus the $4.95 that you go out and spend when you go to the store to buy a card. How much more personal is this? But look at how quickly this has gone together. And we have a card. So quick and easy. So there's one card. All right. I've got a couple of my card parts, little bits and pieces. This is all I ended up having left. So let's make another card. We can make another one out of our same papers. Score our paper in half. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to take this piece that I had, and I'm going to make it's a half sheet, so it'll be 5.5 by 8.5. So when I score it in half, so I can make a smaller size card. I can use these pieces that I have still left over and then see what I have left over from this other card and between the two. So you can see you can use these . We can use, let's see what else we can come up with. I used all this piece up, but we can make those, use some of those pieces on a smaller card. So we'll set that aside and see what we have left over from doing this one as well. Okay, so let's cut these guys apart. I'm going to use my craft knife this time. You can use a cutter, you can use a craft knife, whichever works best for you. You can come out with scissors. So like this, these ends, these shortcuts, I have no problems going ahead and doing those with some scissors. That's fine. But again, if you want smaller, you can also just print it at a smaller scale when you're printing. You can also take these. I do have a permission thing on the bottom of the sheets, so you can take these to like an office supply place or something like that to have them printed for you if you don't have a printer at home. So the permission does grant you permission to print these for your own personal use. And I do ask you, you do keep them for your own personal use, especially the freebies. Since I've already got the Falling for You cut out, I'll save that. There, I have all my card parts cut apart now. Typically, you can take, what a lot of people do with my my papers is they just take the JPEG image on a the little memory thingies, the little memory USBs. I'll get that term out yet. On the USB, and then print it from that. So let's make this one vertical so we can trim this up. Or maybe we just take, this is horizontal. Have these three going across. Maybe he does want this in the middle. It'll stand out a little bit more too than when it's inked. So. You know what you might do too is you can also add cardstock, color cardstock. Let me grab a piece. I think I have a purple piece over here. Oh, I pulled that out without it all falling over. Amazing. So I can maybe put some purple back behind there. I kind of like how that looks. So let's make that about 5 inches by, so I need to cut about 1/2 inch off of that. Save that. Slide the purple on there just to give it some accent. Maybe that goes across the whole width. Those are the center. Maybe they step like so, or they stair step. Down. Do that. I kind of like them just generically each in the middle like that. I like that going across like that. I think that looks really nice. If I wanted the falling for you, this can maybe one moves up so that that falling for you could be in there. Or you can have that in the middle. That's where to use that one. You can have leaves on each side if you want your falling for you. I think I want to put the falling for you on the inside and have the 3 leaves on the outside like that. And I think that's the way I like this one to be. So now we can ink everything. It is chilly here. We are in the low 50s. So yes, I have a sweater on because it is definitely autumn in the Seattle area. It was raining yesterday quite hard. Today, this looks like it's cloudy. I'm just starting out with, on this plain cardstock, I'm just putting some of my vintage photo. But then I'm going to pop in with some aged mahogany for distress oxide. Because it's got more opaqueness to us. It's going to give us kind of that, it's hard to see, it's not going to be able to show up on camera, but it's given me kind of more of a rusty looking edge to it. So I don't know if I can see, you can catch it in the light, you can see it's starting to get that little pinkiness to it. Try not to get too random with it. Another color on there. So I'm going to throw a little of the wild honey. Where is the wild honey? use wild honey instead of the mahogany, so we'll just randomly do a little bit of this. I don't want to do it everywhere, but just to give it a little bit more interesting edges. So there's that. So then I can attach that down. Alrighty, going to attach that. Sounds like I have a dog wanting to come in. That was Tucker barking. That was Sarah's dog. So I'm going to make it slightly higher so it's got a little bit of a base below. That down. And if this spans across the entire width, I'll just trim it off after I get it on. So I'm going to eyeball it pretty close to the center. If you want to measure, feel free to do that. I'm just eyeballing it. That band down, and the first one I'm going to put right dead center. Again, I eyeball a lot. If you want to measure, obviously feel free to do that. These go on each side. So there's a very simple card on the front. Then I can take my Falling For You, and I think I'll do a stripe of this on the inside with the Falling For You, and then you could write stuff. Maybe come in a little bit, and then you can have something written there. So let's see. If I start this one up at this end, I can split this purple one here in the middle. And ink this. So here in less than an hour, even with all the talking, we have 2 cards that would be much more expensive to purchase something simple in the store. They would be at way more than like $4.95, which seems to be the going rate for cards these days, which just is absolutely crazy. So let's get this one, and then we'll take what little pieces we have left and make that last card. That smaller one. So put that one there. This piece go on. And obviously you can mix and match your words and stuff from different cards. So there's another one. falling for you. And let's take our little card with some of our leftover pieces. So we have this guy, so we can put that on there. Have this guy right there. That piece kind of tuck back behind it. Maybe we want to bring in some of that purple, or we have some here of parchment. We can do that. Well, you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to take a piece from one of these. This other sheet, the butterfly sheet. A little square. Pop that in there. Just gonna maybe a little bit more roughly cut intentionally for the thankful, and we can make a quick and easy, fast little thankful card. If I pop this one up, we have a shadow line around it. That'll work. Like it. And it's like a 2-minute thank you card. Tucker's barking. You can also mix and match others of my digital papers in with these card parts to make other backgrounds and that sort of thing. Especially as I build up more of a library of card parts, we will be able to then we would be able to mix and match a lot more too. And then it's kind of, I mean, I'm not a statistics person, but somebody could figure out the math of the thousands upon thousands of combinations of cards that you could do, so you never had to make any two cards alike. So I've just taken my leftovers and made a smaller card, so you don't always have to do the large cards. Oh, and I look up and Christine had said the exact same thing about using the other digital papers for some backgrounds. And then that gives that a little shadow line. So there's a quick little thank you card. Less than a couple minutes. So this is out of printing out 2 sheets. That's how I have left over. So, you know, don't waste a lot either. So I'll save my falling for you. So here in less than an hour, because I talked a bit in the beginning before we got started. So in less than an hour, we've gotten 3 cards made from that one card parts sheet. So this was the card part sheet. So we started out with, whoops, we started out with that. And from that, we got this first card. We just used a punch And that's the first card. Second one, we've just added some plain colored cardstock. And then we've got a second card. And then with our leftover pieces, we made a little thank you card. So there you go. One card sheet, print 2 of them, and boom, you've got some cards using my new card parts concept. So these were a lot of fun, and hopefully you will enjoy the free downloads. The free downloads are of the autumn downloads, and the second one that's not cut up, is the autumn card parts and the butterfly card parts. So both of these are available over on my website at lauradennisondesigns.com. In the blog, if you go to the blog, it's the latest blog post. Scroll down to the small images of these, click on the titles below them, and it will automatically open up on your computer, or you can save it or print it directly from that page. So these, the video for this will be both here on, it'll stay here on YouTube, and the chat records with it, and I'm also going to have it up over on the archives of my website. So card parts gives you the opportunity to make your own custom cards, unique and beautiful for friends and family. Alrighty guys, thank you both to Joy and to Lois for helping me moderate today, and hopefully you have fun working with these freebie downloads. And next Friday we'll be starting our mystery book club series that's going to be using the card parts, and we will be making generic cards as well as holiday cards for that one. So hopefully we'll see you next Friday, and thanks a bunch.